Sri Gurubhyo Namaha children. Welcome to online class. Today in this class we are going to see the next part of the history lesson, an introduction to modern history, when, where and how. So last session we have seen about the periodization of history and the primary sources and secondary sources of modern history, all those things. In this session, we are going to see about some important sources which are available to reconstruct the modern history of India. So first we will know about what is survey. It is conducted to find out the detailed information about an area or a population and to record the information. So British, they had the habit of recording everything and preserving for future references. So they conducted colonial surveys. See, what is this colonial survey? When the British established their rule in India, they realized the importance of knowing the country well in order to administer it effectively. So they wanted to know about our country to administer it effectively. Thus, they introduced the practice of survey, that is, getting the detailed information about everything in the country. They made detailed surveys of everything new they encountered here. That is, they wanted to know about the people and their habits, their culture, their living habits, their food habits, the crops grown, everything. They wanted to get a detailed survey and they mapped it also. This included a thorough study of its history, that is, history of India, by doing archaeological survey, languages spoken in various regions, culture of the people, topography, that is, detailed map of the surface features of land, natural vegetation, wildlife, that is about flora and fauna, and about the natural resources which are available in our country. They also made a detailed study of different kinds of people inhabiting the land and classified them. That is, they wanted to know about people living in various places of India. That is, about their religion, caste, and about their wealth condition, and about the crops grown in their society. Everything they wanted to know. So they conducted various surveys on them on the basis of caste, religion, ethnicity, and occupation. Also, they conducted surveys. So, official institutions such as Archaeological Survey of India, that is, studying about the past, physical remains of the past, the Geological Survey of India, and the Zoological Survey of India were set up. So, they set up institutions such as Archaeological Survey of India to do survey on archaeological basis, and Geological Survey of India, that is the Earth's physical structure, were also surveyed, and the Zoological Survey of India about the exploration and the research about fauna in the country, and conducted systematic surveys of India and prepared meticulous maps. As soon as they completed their survey, they used to map it and tables and charts to record the observations. And they used paintings, later photography as tools of survey. So they photographed various things and they used it in their maps. And survey reports, actually land surveys, population surveys, revenue surveys, and many other types of surveys were conducted. So all these were recorded and documented for the future references, and they recorded everything they recorded and kept in their record rooms. So all the administrative departments, they had separate record rooms to keep all these records for the future references. Mapping was an important part of these surveys. So they mapped everything and kept it for future debates or future references. The British made a large number of topographic maps also, that is, detailed map of the surface feature of the lands. And census operations also began in their period. That is, census operations mean calculating the number of people in a region. It was held once in 10 years. Census was conducted, census operations were conducted once in 10 years. It started in the British period. All these reports are available to us to reconstruct the modern history of India. And official records of the British government. Actually, every administrative decision was recorded and carefully preserved. Every executive, legislative, judicial body had record rooms in which even the smallest records were kept and well catalogued. So, official letters and correspondences, government orders, acts, survey maps, and census records were kept as the official records by the British government. It, provide, it provides glimpses of various aspects of British administration in India. So people come to know from these records how the British had administered India. These records focus only on the official point of view. They do not provide much information on how the people of the country responded to the policies. We could not get the idea of the people how they felt during the British period of India. We could not get that information from the official records kept by the British government. So, we need to draw upon other sources such as literature, newspapers, and periodicals. When we move on to the literature side, books and essays published by the British during their rule in India help us understand how they viewed India and its people. That is, newspapers such as vernacular newspapers written by um, Bankim Chandra Chatterjee or Rabindranath Tagore, they depicted the social problems of the period and injustices done by the British. Books and essays published by the British during their rule in India help us understand how they viewed India and its people, how British viewed India and our people. So, for example, we can take the writings of Rudyard Kipling and autobiographies such as My Experience with the Truth by Mahatma Gandhi, Toward Freedom written by Jawaharlal Nehru, inspired feelings of national pride in Indians. Actually, the books triggered the nationalistic feeling among the people of India, and it triggered the nationalistic feeling and it made them to join the national movement, Indian national movement, Indian independence movement to get freedom from the British government. And we can see here some examples of newspapers and periodicals. They provide valuable sources of information and they provide us with a chronology of events, that is the periodical events. The event which happened, the time of event is provided by the newspapers and periodicals. Earliest newspapers in English, for example, Bengal Gazette, Calcutta Gazette, and Madras Courier and Bombay Herald, also provide some valuable information about the modern period of Indian history. And vernacular newspapers, that is the regional newspapers, regional language newspapers can be taken as example for the sources of a modern period. Bombay Samachar, Kesari, and Amrita Bazar Patrika, these newspapers made people aware of the real intentions of the British. When the national movement was at its peak, actually, the British tried to suppress the press, but they were unsuccessful. And these newspapers reflected anti British sentiments. So, newspapers played an important role in uniting Indians across far flung regions. So, it united the people, those who were settled in various places, and it inspired them to join the freedom movement. About photographs and films, these were used both as a tool to document life in India and as a hobby by the British. So they took photographs and they documented it. So they provide a vivid and authentic visual account of life of those times. The life of the people who lived in during the British period was expressed in those photographs. We can get an idea about the lifestyle of the people by seeing these photographs, by observing these photographs. So films and documentaries also give us an insight into British rule in India. So by seeing some films taken during that period can give us an insight into the British rule in India. And where these documents or records were preserved, they are stored in archives, museums, and libraries. So, archives are nothing but they are the institutions where different kinds of historical documents are preserved. The National Archives of India contains documents of Indian history from its ancient times. Even now, we can have some evidences or some letters or documents or memos sent from one department to another department of British period can be got from these archives. It is an important custodian of the records of the colonial period. So we can have some important records or important documents by visiting these archives. And museums, these are the institutions that preserve the objects of scientific, cultural and historical importance. So we can say the example of National Museum at Delhi, the Indian Museum at Calcutta. The paintings, the sculptures, coins, clothes, and manuscripts are preserved in these museums. So, by getting the information from these museums, we can easily reconstruct the history of modern India. And when we talk about the libraries, libraries are the places where books are kept and preserved. The National Library of India in Kolkata has many important documents from which we can reconstruct the history of colonial era. Okay, children, we have come to the end of this session. We have seen the important sources of modern Indian history. We will meet in the next class, children. Thank you.